All right. Can you hear me now? All right. I need somebody that's on Facebook, YouTube. I need somebody to type in the chat. All right. Can you hear me? Just let me know. All right. Let's keep going. What are some locked rooms that believers? Thank you, Sister Tremel. That's why you're my favorite. What are some locked rooms that believers may hide in today? What are some locked rooms? For those who are just joining us, for those who are just hearing us, we're in John chapter 20, verses 19 through 23. Notice the disciples, notice Jesus had been raised from the dead. The disciples are in hiding. And the question is, what are some locked rooms that we find ourselves hiding behind? So let me hear from you. Careers, I see you there. That's a chatter there, Sister Bailey. Yes, sometimes we hide behind our careers. We let our careers dictate our lives. And instead of watch this, and we put the job first of everything. This is why watch this. This is why we can't come to church because of the job. We can't read the Bible because of the job. We can't do anything because of the job. We put the job first, and then watch this here. Then the job let you go, and then you start running. Watch this. You start running like, okay, what am I gonna do? But the Bible tells you, one, to seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. In other words, you need to put God first. And anytime you put anything above God, anything ahead of God, you have made that your God. And please understand, it's not a capital G, that's a lowercase g. In other words, it's an idol. You made it your go-to. And let me share this with you. I'm not against working. I believe everybody should work. Okay, if you're able to work, go out there and do some. But my point is, even in saying what the comment that I got there was, don't you put that ahead of God. And what it is, we pray to God. Watch this. You pray to Almighty God for the job. You pray to him for a career. And then once you get the career, you fail to recognize him. You fail to understand that it was him who gave it to you. But you've put the blessing in front of the blesser. Shame on us. All right. Well, let's keep going. Let's keep going. When we look here at this text in John chapter 20, let's go back to verse number 19. Look at what it says there, verse number 19. It says, then the same day at evening. Now, stop for a minute. The question is, what day is it? Well, when you look here at the text, it says the same day at evening. This is still Resurrection Sunday, but it's evening. And Jesus had already appeared to Mary Magdalene. The disciples, they had also been hearing some stuff, but they're still fearful. And I think I need to tell you that fear is louder than your faith. Yeah, when we see that, their fear is louder than their faith because they're still there in hiding. Now, the question is, why are they so afraid? Well, you already know the deal. They had just witnessed the crucifixion a few days ago. They had watched how Jesus had been put to death on the cross. They had seen that. So they were in fear for their own lives, thinking that maybe that they would be next. Now, I think I need to tell you that, watch this here. Even after some great miracles, believers sometimes still struggle with fear. Yeah, sometimes God has already made ways for you, but we still sometimes struggle with fear. So let me ask you this, and then we're going to go more into the text. Why do you think the disciples still struggled with fear even after hearing the resurrection news? Why do you think that they still struggled with fear, even though they had heard now that 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 Jesus had been raised from the dead. Why do you think they still struggled with fear? Oh, I see you there. I see you. I see you there, Sister False. You typed it in the chat. Said fear was outweighing their reasoning. You can be so overcome with fear that you can't think straight. Fear takes over your rationality. Yeah. When you're scared, yeah, you what they say, when you're scared, you're not thinking straight, you're not in your right mindset. Yeah. And again, notice this goes back to where we were last week. Last week, we did a lot of talking about dealing with grief. When you're dealing with grief, when you're dealing with the passing of a loved one, you're not always in your right mindset. Okay. And we see even when you are scared, you're not thinking straight. All right, I like that. So I tell you what, let's go and let's jump on into the lesson now. Can we jump on in? Oh, I see you there. Sister Williams said they were still under Roman rule oppression, and they saw the things that happened to Jesus. Yes, they saw what happened to Jesus. And when you realize everything that happened to him, now watch this here. They saw how, watch this, he got whipped, he got beaten, he got spit upon. Now, please understand, if you sit in there watching this thing, okay, you can smell death. I mean, when you see all of what's going on, they fear for their lives. And please understand, let's not us sit in our comfort areas at our houses or wherever you are and say all they had to do was. Because there are times when we, even in our comfort zones, we still reject Jesus. We still sit in fear. Oh, stop for a minute. Stop for a minute. Sister Smith, I see you there. She said, now, hold up now. They had witnessed their leader, their king, if you would, the one who was leading them. And they saw what happened to him. And then her last statement was that if because she got to talking about what, like one of the thieves were on the cross was saying, if you are all of this here, why don't you come and save us too? So they are what we said. They're not thinking straight. They are not in their right frame of mind right now. Okay, they're still, what's it? They're still dealing with it. They're still processing what had happened, and that speaks to something else. Because as I was talking with some folk earlier, well, last week, dealing with grief, many folk grieve differently. Not everybody grieve the same way, and some look at, okay, it's over, so move on. Please understand, if if this is someone that you cared about, you had a relationship with, you had a rapport, you had some type of, you were influenced by them. It's not one of them things. Just move on. So they're still dealing with that he went to the cross. And yes, they are in hiding. They're fearful for their own lives. So let's see what's going on, because I see several key movements here. The first one deals with the fearful gathering. So let's go back to John chapter 20, verse number 19. Sister False, are you still there with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, I would like you to keep reading. Go back again, John chapter 20, verse number 19. Let me hear from you once again, just verse 19.
Screen. On the evening of that first day of the week, when the disciples were together with the doors locked for fear of the Jewish leaders, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you."
All right, stop for a minute. So we see here, I'm classifying this section here as the fearful gathering. The fearful gathering. Y'all type that in the chat. Encourage somebody. The fearful gathering. Well, notice what's going on. Once again, they're locked in this location. And notice the disciples, they're all together. We shared that they were terrified. The doors are shut. The atmosphere is interesting. Please understand that they are all together, but they are not in a worship service, but they're in a survival meeting. I'm saying that because they're together. Okay, they're trying to figure out, okay, how we going to stay, how we going to get through what, or still process what's going on. Notice that they are assembled, but they are not assured. They are gathered, but they are not grounded. They are together, but they are still troubled. Please understand, child of God, fear has a way of locking doors that faith is supposed to open. Once again, fear has a way of locking doors that your faith is supposed to open, Pastor Jones. Notice here, the disciples, they represent believers who love Jesus, but hold up, but who are still struggling with trauma from what they have witnessed. And when I look at this, notice again, these disciples, these followers of him, please understand, these are folk that Jesus had called from their professions. And y'all remember what he said there on the sea? He said, "Come, follow me." So they left everything to come and follow Jesus. And now the one who they've been following for these years, now he's no longer there. So I think they're in the process of just trying to figure some stuff out. They're trying to regroup, if you would. And yes, they're fearful of their lives. So fear has a way, once again, of locking doors that faith is supposed to open. So watch this here. What does it say about the disciples that they gathered together, even though they were afraid? Listen at it again. What does it say about the disciples that they gathered together? Notice they're there, except Thomas. They're there, even though they were afraid. What does it say about the disciples that they gathered together? They came together even though they were afraid. Sister Foss, I see you. I see you there. You said it says they believe that there was safety in numbers. All right, I can go with that. Somebody else, come on, let me hear from you. Sister Foss said that they believe that because if they were all together, if we stayed together, then we'll be safer. Now, that's a message, Sister Foss, because what happens to us when we get fearful, we get off to ourselves. When we get fearful, we're not trying to be around other folk. But I'm gonna go with you, Sister Foss. Say again. So, Sister Swift done jumped in. She said they were with like-minded people. They could relate to each other because notice they were all followers of Jesus Christ. And they weren't just casual followers. These were followers, true followers of Jesus Christ. So Swift suggests that they were with like-minded individuals. And I'm gonna go there with you. And because of that, this shows that they still had some unity. They still had some hope. In other words, even fear itself couldn't scatter them. And what I see that we can learn from this, even in those tough times when things are difficult, stop retreating and start running towards. Listen, we need to learn how to support each other, because if you notice it or not, they all in the same boat, because they're all followers of him. So they're looking at it from the lens of if they got Jesus, y'all know we next. So let us at least come together. Pastor Jones, I see you there, said although they were afraid, it was something that made them believe. As believers, they still gathered together. All right, they still had some hope, if you would. I like that. So they still had some hope. But hold on. Let me ask you a question here. Now, I got to get personal and I got to get in your business. Sister Jewel, I see you. Strength in numbers. Yes. Yes, there's strength in numbers. When we unite together, we're stronger. Yes, we may be afraid. We may be, what was one writer say, scared. But there's strength in numbers. We need to unify together. Now, let me ask you this here. Now, I got to get in your business. Here we go. What are some reasons believers may shut the doors spiritually? Does this go back to where we were earlier? What are some reasons that we shut some doors spiritually? And I'm going to submit that yes, this is part of where we were earlier. Sometimes that past hurt. Sometimes that past hurt, disappointment, if you would. Thank Sister Hawkins. Sometimes guilt. The question: what are some reasons believers shut doors spiritually? Sister Bailey, I see you. The church hurt. Yes. Sometimes doubt. Sometimes shame, church trauma, fear of, watch this, fear of rejection, lack of trust. Whoa, fear of failure. Yeah, and let me talk to some leaders here today. I see a whole lot of church leaders on the line. Sometimes we get interested in ourselves. We start retreating or holding back ourselves because we sometimes start doubting, and we don't want folk to doubt us. Or we don't like to feel rejected. Sister Williams, I see you there talking about shame, feeling shut out. Sister Bailey, yes, talking about death. Sister Jewel, I see you there. Church people, yeah. Listen, make sure you're paying attention to all of what's going on. These are realities. These are some reasons why some feel they shut the door spiritually. Now, my question then, if let's talk to some folk who are some true Christians, not just folk who just come. What then if we know that we have many folk they are dealing with church hurt? Sometimes it's us who run folk off. Come on now, let's go there. Sometimes it's us who the ones who say we are we are fire baptized, Holy Ghost filled. This is what we say. Sometimes it's us who running the folk off. We and then sometimes watch this here. We do that because for some of them they feel like there's no hope at all. And then we make them feel like, okay, well, I'm just not good enough. All right, hold tight. We got a whole lot going on here. Let me see. Don't believe God is hearing or answer our prayers. Yes, sometimes we feel like God is not hearing us or God is not answering our prayers. Please understand, God knows what we're dealing with. God, He answers our prayers. He hears our prayers and He answers our prayers. Pastor Jones, I see you there. When professionals give you bad news, you take them at their word instead of trusting in God totally, like doctors, lawyers, mechanics, educators. All right, I like that. I like that. All right. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. It's gonna get more interesting. Come on, let's press just a little further. What does fear do to a believer's decision making? What does fear do to your decision making? Say again. So Swift, I hear you way over there. She said it clouds your judgment. The question on the floor.
Fear and doubt.
Say again.
It causes fear, confusion, and doubt.
All right, I like that. Sister Falls shared that it causes fear, it causes doubt. All right. Sister Williams, I see you that said it can lead to procrastination. Yes. The question once again, what does fear do to a believer's decision making? We've heard some, we've heard several. I'm gonna add to it. It causes hiding. Yeah, when you are fearful, you're gonna go hiding. It clouds your judgment. You're not thinking straight. It causes you, watch this, to even doubt your own self. And it also causes you to not trust in God. It clouds your relationship. It causes hesitation. It causes doubt. It causes, watch this, even overthinking. It hinders, Sister Williams, it hinders your trust in God and his plan. And you know what? And it also sometimes disobedience. Pastor Jones, I see you there. Said fear can make you make rush decisions and bring in doubt. Yes, all of this what fear does. So what we're saying is that we want to replace your fear with faith. But please understand, you got to understand the contextual background, understand what just happened. So please, again, don't just sit in your nice lounger and just say all they had to do was. Because my question, even to you, how do we still show fear? We still do this. We still show that we doubt the Lord. And even though we sing songs and say, I know the Lord will make a way, and then we say somehow, when it doesn't happen when we want it to happen, when it doesn't happen in our timing, when it doesn't happen in our will or in our way, then fear starts setting in, doubt sets in, discouragement sets in. But that's why I heard Jesus Christ, he talked about it. He said when he was praying there in the garden the night before he went to the cross, that's why he said, not my will, but thy will be done. Fear can make you be interesting. It can cloud your vision. It can cloud what's going on. Now, as we're still there, Let's stay there because we're still looking at the fearful gathering. Let me ask one more question, then we'll proceed. Have you ever been in a season where you were physically present but emotionally locked up? Have you ever been in a season where you were there physically, but emotionally you were still imprisoned? Let me hear from you. Up, Sister False, I see you there. She said, yes, while in a period of spiritual depression. Oh, now I like how you using some of our previous Bible study big words here. Spiritual depression. Yes, I like that. So let me read what you said. So while in a period of spiritual depression, in this place, the focus was more on the problem and not the problem solver. Yes, when you are terrified, when you're scared, when you're displaying fear, you're focusing in more on the issue than on the one who can solve the issues. Your focus, again, you're not thinking right. Your decision making is clouded. You are, as the law enforcement say, your vision is impaired. Yeah, and this is why you should be doing certain stuff while you're in this state, because you're not thinking straight. This is why, watch this here. This is why they don't want y'all to sign certain stuff when you're not feeling well. This is why, watch this. They start asking you questions. Even I'm gonna go there to you, Sister Swift. They start asking questions. Are you all right? Are you in a safe place? Yeah. Or are you impaired? Are you dealing with something? And the thing about it, when fear sits in, when fear comes, when you're scared, when you don't know what to do, you ain't thinking right. So let's press on just a little further. The disciples are hiding behind shut doors. But here's some good news just for you. Even though they're behind some shut doors, they're behind some locked doors. The locked doors can keep people out, but they cannot keep Jesus out. Because notice what happened. Verse number 19, once again, then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut. Notice the doors are shut. Where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, came Jesus and stood in the midst. Even though the doors were shut, Jesus now shows up. In other words, you can't keep him out. You can keep them other folk out, but you can't keep him out. So let's keep going. Sister Foss, how you doing way over there? You still good?
Yes.
All right, I'm so glad you're still good. I need you, can you read verses 20 and 21? Notice Jesus is standing there in their midst. Go ahead, verse number 20. Let me hear you.
After he said this, he showed them his hands and side. The disciples were overjoyed when they saw the Lord.
21 as well.
Again, Jesus said, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you."
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I like this verse here. Now notice we looked earlier at what I call the fearful gathering. Here in this section, I'm calling it the faithful greeting. The faithful greeting. Type that in the chat, encourage someone. The faithful greeting. Notice Jesus, he didn't knock. He just appeared there. He doesn't wait for their permission to enter the room. He steps into the room. Now, I think I need to tell somebody here, when you can't get to Jesus, Jesus can still get to you. Yes. This goes back to, we know that he's omnipresent, means present everywhere. So we see that he gets to them. He stands in the midst. He stands, watch this, in the middle of their fear. He's there. In the middle of their confusion, he's there. In the middle